Roy, I want you to tell me on first reference what you would refer to this as if you had to give it a name.
I would give it the name water bottle.
Water bottle is probably closer than
Really? What if there's coffee in it instead of water?
thermos. Then it would
good
be a
question.
There's
water,
multiple uses for
Coffee bottle.
There you
water
go.
bottle holding coffee.
Vessel.
Billy,
It's a vessel for sure.
Yeah, what I do.
how happy were you about what LeBron did yesterday as someone who has accused LeBron for many, many years here
Moi?
of being someone who loves attention, goes out of his way to seek attention, brought his own bottle of wine to sit right in the middle of Cleveland's postseason and get great seats, incidentally. I don't think those seats are
Best
easy.
seats in the house.
I don't think
Imagine
those
that.
seats are easy to get at the last minute. I know Greg Cody.
Well, it is if you download the Game Time app, Dan. Use promo code Dan. He probably took advantage of a flash deal. Maybe he was trying to figure out exactly what his seats would look like there and couldn't picture a courtside seat in his mind, so he opened up the app and he opened up Game Time and he saw exactly what his view might be over there. And it's not just sporting events. It's concerts. It's comedy shows. Really, Game Time has entertainment on lock and great customer service, low price guarantee. If you find something out there, you'll get your money back and more. Nothing is going to beat Game Time when it comes to pricing or customer service. That is promo code DAN.
Little early for that.
Well done. The rare live spot inside of a minute of our show.
What do you
I mean,
save?
that's
$20?
great.
That's
$20 off your
It's the
first
earliest
purchase
we've
if
ever
you
done
use
live,
that
yes.
promo code DAN.
Pricey seats, but $20 is $20, Dan.
Lowest price guaranteed.
That has never happened that early in the show before. I have scrolling across my phone as he does this. I have not seen this before. Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker bashes Pride Month, tells women to stay in the kitchen is the Yahoo headline. I'm going to read that during the break, and I'm going to consume that. All I've gotten so far is the headline.
Can we go back to LeBron or Thermos or Game Time?
It's an easy distraction what LeBron does. Last night in Cleveland, he sits right in the middle of the festivities and
I'd argue it was selfless what he did yesterday. You have to look to see the bigger picture of what was going on there because the news that was coming out in the day, Dan, was that Bronny is not as big as we thought that he was. And he also isn't very good, apparently. But somehow is at the combine and is eligible for the NBA draft that no one really thinks that he should be drafted in. So what's going on here? Because the story we've been told is LeBron dreams of playing with his son. However, his son really shouldn't be in the NBA. Not that I'm saying. I wouldn't
what was
say
that?
such
I
a
didn't.
thing.
Yeah, but I didn't understand
Well said.
anything
Say
that you
it
said
again,
there.
though.
What did you say? Okay,
Shouldn't be playing in the NBA.
Is-
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say probably shouldn't be playing in the NBA. Some are saying that that's a situation. But for his son to play in the NBA, what do you have to do? You have to find a landing spot. And then you start looking around, looking at all the different teams in the league. Where has he played? Where has he hasn't? It seems as though the Lakers isn't going to be a thing anymore. Maybe they will be. Maybe they won't be. But what's a comfy landing spot? Cleveland.
Yep.
Because if Bronny gets drafted and he goes to New York with the Knicks, they're having a great season this year. There's going to be expectations next year. And if Bronny's not that good, the Boo Birds are going to be coming out for Bronny James. You know what I mean? And you don't want that. So you go to a familiar place. Literally, a familiar place. Family, home, the land, if you will. And who comes to the land? Not only their favorite son, their favorite grandson
Boom.
is coming with daddy. He's
Yep.
bringing daddy back home to finish his career where it started. A perfect storybook ending for the LeBron James career. And who did that? Bronny James did that. So no matter how bad he is and whether he belongs in the NBA or not, doesn't matter because he brought daddy home. And he's there for the storybook ending. No Boo Birds for Bronny James if they return to Cleveland.
Well, let's play this from last night, just the standing ovation. This is quite the turn if you've been watching the last 15 years.
Cavalier fans, welcome back to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse from St. Vincent, St. Mary High School in Akron, Ohio. Number 23, LeBron James.
It really is crazy. The story arc, he's the oldest player in the NBA, and this is what Brian Windhorst had to say, that several NBA executives were curious about that visit last night because LeBron's postseason doesn't start that early usually. And this is the Windhorst quote. I will say this. The first thing I thought of was this moment 10 years ago where LeBron showed up to a game in Cleveland while he was a player for the Miami Heat to honor Zydrunas Ilgauskas' jersey retirement, his longtime teammate. And he got in a private plane, flew from Chicago over to Cleveland on an off night. Pat Riley was not happy, and a few months later, he signed with the Cavs. He's extremely strategic, and I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what he is doing. I don't pretend to know, but he's got to be up to something.
Yeah. They retired Big Z's jersey?
That's crazy.
I mean, that's nuts.
I mean, Memphis just retired Tony Allen.
They had
jersey.
nothing
What?
until LeBron. Like,
That is hilarious.
Which one? Big Z. Big Z is funnier
is.
to you than
Oh,
Tony.
Big Z's got more merit.
Big Z
I
was.
guess he does, but LeBron attending it, that's great.
Tony Allen was at least the
Chris.
the lockdown defender.
Chris.
in
Well,
the
he
league.
was the grind father.
Chris, I don't know. I'm going to look up some stats during the break, but I'd argue that Big Z, after maybe Brad Daugherty, Big Z might be one of the best players in Cavs history.
Yeah. Plus, it might have actually been a move to get LeBron back into the building.
It worked.
Yeah, just based on merit alone, they were probably like, he's on the edge, but LeBron played with him, and there's a chance he comes to the jersey retirement ceremony. Also, white pants for LeBron. While you got a bottle of cab between your
choice.
legs, that is a dangerous game.
Well, I want to talk about all that because I don't imagine a lot of people would be allowed into that arena with a bottle of wine.
That's crazy. It probably violates all kind of laws.
Is there more precedent for that or for a 6'1" combo guard that averaged 5 points a game with a heart ailment entering the draft being talked about as a first rounder?
Now, in fairness, Brian Windhorst came out and said, yes, he was undersized, but he was a lot better shooter than most people thought. And he was in great shape and actually had a good day yesterday.
Just let me just for
Say it
perspective.
again. Say it again. Say it again because Stugotz wasn't listening. He was waiting for you to
perspective.
stop talking. He was waiting for the words to stop, the sounds to stop coming out of your mouth so that he could say what he wanted to say. But say it again.
What is the precedent for someone who they told us was 6'4" but is actually 6'1.5", who averaged just 5 points a game in college and is entering the league with a known heart ailment?
Right.
What is the precedent for that? Because I'm going to rattle off a player right now who also had a famous dad, who was actually 6'3" and averaged 12.5 points per game in college. Marcus Jordan was not talked about in these circles. He was not talked about as an NBA prospect. What is it with Bronny James?
You get LeBron, and LeBron's still playing at a very high level. Michael wasn't at the time. He was done. Michael was done. So you get Bronny just to get LeBron. Nothing wrong with that. And what a great dad.
Okay.
Seriously.
So
to
you're
leverage his situation to make money for his son, what a great dad. Dad of the year, I would say.
So you're just drafting Bronny James, essentially wasting a draft pick in the hopes of luring LeBron James.
Yes.
I would.
Yes.
I certainly would.
Yes.
You know, there's a spot on the end of the bench for everybody. Like, no matter how bad Bronny is relative to NBA
Allegedly.
standards, there's a 15th spot. What's the roster, 12 or 15? I can never
It'd be
keep-
good
Doesn't
for you,
matter.
it'd be
Yeah,
good
don't
for you to
worry.
know that
Doesn't
before
matter.
saying that there's a spot
We
at
get
the
it,
end
though.
of the
There's a
bench for everybody.
15th spot on the roster for Bronny anywhere in the league as long as dad comes with him. You know, personally, I don't believe in nepotism. I don't think a father should do anything. I think a son should be on his own. But in this case, it's a package deal, and any team in the league would still love to have LeBron at age 40 next year, which is remarkable. Maybe the most remarkable thing in a remarkable career is that at age 40, he is still near the top of the game. Anybody would want him.
Greg, we talked about this yesterday. What if this is the new Shabazz Napier, where you draft him thinking this leads to LeBron coming to your team, and then you just get Bronny James?
He shot well yesterday, as Stugotz mentioned. He's also got a 42-inch vertical leap, which was one of the best at the combine.
Bert.
And
Shabazz Napier was also 6'1".
and what Mike Ryan is saying is correct. But LeBron exerting power is as the oldest player in the league. And I'm just going to read the last part of that sentence again, because Windhorst, if you've been following the history of this, Windhorst is and has become an exceptional reporter, but it all started with Windhorst covering LeBron in high school. Windhorst's entire career started covering LeBron better than anybody. To be in 2024, 20 years, more than 20 years after Windhorst was covering LeBron, and Windhorst to report I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what he's doing. I don't pretend to know, but he's got to be up to something. Is a tremendous report from LeBron's number one insider as he gets a standing ovation in Cleveland. Again, I will tell you, Stugotz, it's a weird game for him to be at. You don't do that unless you know you're going to invite a lot of this attention that Billy says that he craves when we're not talking about him. At this point in the season and in his career, you tell me all the other times in the second round that we haven't been talking about him because we're always
on the court. Right.
That's correct.
Yes.
And so he's going to find a way to get into that conversation, and it is one of his superpowers, the economy of relevance around him. It's not just the economy around him, which is enormous. He comes to a city and he makes it matter more, and he brings a ton of money with him, and he's underpaid no matter what you pay him. Underpaid no matter what you pay him, because in a salary cap sports, there are limits on what it is you can pay him, and he's always worth more than that.
I just can't believe that he's 39, going to be 40 years old, and he's going to control another offseason because he is perceived now for certain teams, Dan. I'll have to see how the playoffs play out, but he is perceived because he's playing at such a high level still that he could be a missing piece for certain teams in the NBA.
Well, how about that one?
Like a team like the Knicks. Like,
no, but how about the one that he's visiting yesterday?
Well, I think he could be. If
Any
Donovan
team.
Mitchell stays and you have LeBron James, you have Jared Allen, you have those guys, like I think he potentially could be a missing piece. Plus, the Eastern Conference is so much easier. The Celtics are not playing their A game by any stretch, and they're about to breeze into the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, the Celtics are about to breeze into the finals with one of the easiest paths I've ever seen to the finals.
Right.
I wasn't super impressed with them last night either. Just getting it over the line against a Donovan Mitchell-less Cleveland Cavs team.
But what are we doing there? Like, seriously, we bash Jason Tatum. When they lose game 2 at home, we bash the Celtics.
I guess what we're doing is we're like the only ones that bash Jason Tatum.
Right.
He's living a very charmed existence right now.
they
And
went-
I want to see him just like, you know how a couple years ago I wanted to see Steph Curry just do it in the finals?
Right.
Because there wasn't really a finals where he had the best performances. Maybe you can talk about gravitational pull and all that, but I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see him take over a series and unquestionably be the best player on the court. And then he did it, and we're good.
All right.
I'm there with Jason Tatum. He's been in the league for a while now.
Right.
I know he's young, but he's been playing in important games for a very long time now. I'm very confused by this player.
So you're saying nothing short of winning an NBA championship will have you praising Jason Tatum? Like he has to do
Well,
that.
but the
No,
thing
yeah,
is,
just be really good. Like
In the finals.
If he loses to Jokic in the finals, who I think is maybe you could have an argument for greatest basketball player of all time. Sure, but like go out like a soldier.
I would say that I thought that you holding Steph Curry when you did to that standard was asinine, though I understand how and why you arrived there. And I would say that Jason Tatum's resume at his age is only missing that. His age, because he's 25, the number of Eastern Conference Finals, very few players of that age have that kind of winning that early in their career. Jordan didn't.
No,
Jordan did
no.
not have that
Nope.
kind of winning, even that much, because it doesn't happen for players that early. It doesn't happen. Anthony Edwards has a chance to do it, but what Tatum has done, both statistically and with team success, super unusual for that age.
He's been on really good teams, though. Jordan and
Yeah,
LeBron
but he's been the best player
No,
on
Dan,
those teams.
Well, I mean, some people would say Kyrie was on that one team. Some people would say that. But
I
I'm
don't-
saying he had teammates like Kyrie and like Jalen Brown.
Stugotz,
Dan.
he's been the best player
Okay.
on teams that have had a lot of success at a very young age.
Also, did that Kyrie team do much? I think that was like
They did a lot when he got
it
hurt.
did not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when Kyrie got hurt, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, so I think they actually performed better with him. It's kind of you have to remind yourself that Kyrie was a Celtic at this point.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little more about the strategy in doing what he did yesterday in the middle of the playoffs. I have not seen LeBron James sitting courtside with his wife and a bottle of wine in the middle of playoff action very often in my life. And I don't believe that was just because he wanted a night out with his wife. I believe that the Windhorse report is right. Quote, He's got to be up to something.
So you don't think that he sat down with his wife, we're bounced out of the playoffs, he looked at the calendar, he said, hey, Monday night, we have an open night. Let's take in a Cavs game.
Maybe
You
it was a
know?
Mother's Day gift.
Could be.
I don't know what to make of it, and I'm asking you guys to maybe help me make something out of it, because I was watching Get Up briefly on mute, and I saw them talk about 2 basketball topics. It was what LeBron was doing and ESPN basically being used as a propaganda machine to get Kevin Durant out of Phoenix.
Let's talk about this for a second.
Like what is happening with the aging stars taking over the narrative where the main sports cable channel is, Luka's a star, SGA is a star, that is an even series right there. But instead of talking about the stars of today and potentially tomorrow, we're doing this with guys pushing 40, and it's just interesting to me. Are we just so incapable of talking about new topics? We've just been lulled into talking about KD and LeBron and their off seasons potentially for 20 years that this is all we want to do now?
It is an interesting thing to watch, the reluctance of the media to give the story over to the action on the court and the young people who have taken the sport away from the old people. But these 2 old people specifically that you speak of are the ones who introduced us to an entirely new age of how we consume all this stuff, and their movement is more relevant off the court than it is on the court until you get to the games with giant stakes. This probably wouldn't happen or feel like this during the finals. But when you've got this absence of star power we're familiar with, and you've got Jokic, who doesn't have an embrace that America has warmed to, you get this kind of thing. And are you saying that Stephen A. Smith and Kevin Durant are now in cahoots? Because we have this sound of Stephen A. Smith, and at one time, I've never seen a journalist do this on television to a star athlete before Stephen A. Smith did it.
You don't want to make an enemy out of me. And I'm looking right into the camera, and I'm going to say it again. You do not want to make an enemy out of me. I'm not having it.
So we, of course, turned that into a movie trailer because it did sound like an action star talking.
I sit here today incredibly offended by the personal attack that this man has put against me.
In a world with hot takes, his takes might be the hottest.
Kevin Durant is the one that's lying.
Kevin Durant is in too deep.
I made a mistake.
With a man you don't want to make an enemy out of. The Slim Reaper versus the suit with 400 buttons.
I don't want to hear from you, and nobody else should either.
McDonald's All-American.
Am I human? Do you look at me that way?
Versus McDonald's Commercial.
Had I had to come on the air that next day, I can promise you it would have been very bad.
Stephen A. Smith.
Forget the numbers. You don't need them. Look at his eyes.
Versus Kevin Durant and them boys.
You the real MVP.
You won't want to be on his Journa hit list.
You don't want to make an enemy out of me. And I'm looking right into the camera, and I'm going to say it again. You do not want to make an enemy out of me. I'm not having it.
He's writing your fate, and he's up against a deadline.
But since then, since their public beef, Stephen A. has been on air, a pretty good ally for Kevin Durant, quietly, because everyone thinks of their initial beef. But he goes on First Take earlier this week, and he says, keep an eye out at Kevin Durant. He's not happy there. He keeps to himself. And they're sort of kind of using Stephen A. Smith. He gets great information, but Stephen A. Smith on the other side is also pushing this very well-informed opinion that Kevin Durant is unhappy over there. So it's just bizarre that these guys aren't really mattering on the court right now, and yet they're leading the discussions when they're not who they once were. Greg, your breathing is very loud. Yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's just
That was
very
his
loud.
first word, I think.
It's it's a nice reminder that you're still kicking. I appreciate it.
We're going to miss that when it's gone.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Him breathing?
Yes.
I'm not the only one that hears it, right?
Well, him.
No, I hear it.
No, I meant the breathing because then he too will be gone. Those things go hand in hand.
Yeah, you sort of have to breathe.
Not into the mic when other people are talking.
For the love of God. By the way, if I can say this. Oh, we're out of time. I didn't hear a horn.
So, Stugotz, you were saying before you were kicked out of here?
I was saying he doesn't have to play for free. But, Dan, at this stage in his career, if LeBron is interested in chasing ghosts and trying to catch Michael Jordan and getting 6 NBA titles, the way you would do it is attach yourself to the team that is most desperate, the team that needs him the most, the team that is the closest but doesn't win this year. You attach yourself to that team and you say, hey, I'll play for the league minimum. Therefore, you can keep all these other pieces around me, and let's try to win 2 championships. That's all I'm saying. It's something to think about.
It's not, because LeBron has already said 10 years ago, I'm never again playing for anything less than the max.
That was before Bronny. If he could now get Bronny to join him in Cleveland, he plays for the minimum, builds a super team around him, gets Bronny 2 rings in the process. Now you're talking about hanging Bronny's jersey up in the rafters.
Yep.
2-time champion?
I mean,
How many Cleveland Cavaliers are 2-time champions?
I mean, one of the teams
Zero.
that fit the bill would be the Miami Heat potentially, but they didn't want LeBron doing things in the prime of his career. They wouldn't give him certain privileges. Would they use a draft pick on his son?
I'll tell you what, if I'm LeBron, I would make the tour. Tonight, I sit front row at the Mecca. That's what I do. Yeah.
I will tell you guys this story. I don't think it's public. So you guys take this under advisement, because I really don't know how many different things Dan Gilbert did for LeBron. But when LeBron and his group got to Miami, they had to be told, no, you cannot start with more than 1,000 season tickets. We're not doing it that way. We can't do it that way. But there were a lot of asks. There were
That's insane.
A great many
1,000 season tickets?
With Game Time, you don't need any season tickets.
Promo code DAN. Flash deals. They should have signed up using your name, Dan.
I am going, I have to stop here, because that is something that was spoken about in those circles, but I did not verify that as the number. So 1,000 might have been something. The 1,000 might not have been 1,000. They just asked for a bunch of season tickets and were told they could not have that many season tickets. Don't hold me.
Yeah.
Don't
You're
hold
good,
me.
man. Don't worry about it.
It's like saying 1 million. Like, yeah,
Probably
could I have
100.
1 million tickets? I'm going to ask for 1 million tickets like this. It's just a large number. You don't know.
I would
Probably
love
100.
to know what it is that the Cavs might offer him in order to get him back, because he can make a lot of different asks.
Was JB Bickerstaff coaching for his job last night?
Do you think? Were those players auditioning for LeBron James?
Charlotte Wilder is here. You can hear her basketball expertise with Amin El-Hassan on Oddball every day, except for Monday. Thank you, Charlotte, for joining us. Before you came on with us, they were criticizing both Jason Tatum and how sluggish the Celtics looked. I would say to them, road playoff games are hard to win, and the Celtics seem to do it pretty easily again and again. But you have to be very enthused about what is the easiest run to the Eastern Conference finals and the easiest run to the finals that we've ever seen.
I mean, first of all, hey guys, long time listener.
First time, long time.
Well done. Well done.
WFAT.
Well, very,
Yes.
very efficient, Charlotte.
Thank you so much. Yeah, look, okay, the Celtics. Here's my thing. I don't know if I'm broken inside or if I still have some trauma unresolved from last year when they totally screwed everything up, but I'm not getting a lot of joy from this. I think part of it, like, it's either a blowout win or a blowout loss. What I liked about last night was that the Cavs went up. The Celtics were like, oh, I guess we should do something. They were rebounding. They were playing defense. They didn't just give up and be like, oh, well, we'll get them next time. And then blow them out of the water the next time. It was actually like there was a little tension there. That was good. They did it. But also like they're supposed to do it. So it's sort of like, what am I like? I'm having a total come apart because I'm like, it's not that much fun, but I'm such a loser if I'm like, oh, they're winning, but not the way I want them to, and it's not fun. But also, like, the vibes are off. Something's weird. I don't know. Help somebody, help me. Like, help me.
Playoff series are not fun when you're a huge favorite.
It's
I think that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
I disagree. That's ridiculous.
Because anytime anything goes wrong, it's like, this shouldn't be happening. You're the huge favorite.
But wait a minute.
And then if you win big, it's like, you should have done this.
Right.
No, but I want to be a huge favorite. There's nothing better than knowing your team's great.
Yeah, but the only way you win is by winning. Anything short of that
correct.
is right.
But that's what the standard should be.
I know, but it's kind of boring. I mean, they're expected to win, and they're doing so in boring fashion.
I would disagree on a couple of fronts. One of them is this where the standard is? The Celtics have now lost twice in the postseason. Has anyone lost less than that? Has anyone in the postseason lost less than that? I'll give you hockey, too. Has anyone lost less than,
the Rangers just
two
tied
times?
The Rangers just had their second loss.
I'm hearing the statistics are in, and the statistics bureau in my head have no idea, Dan. I have absolutely no idea.
Charlotte, you're a professional speaker. What is happening with your speech this morning?
The Celtics are happening to my speech because I'm having a lot of trouble. Thank you, Stu. I'm having a lot of trouble articulating what is going on here because, like, in Jason Tatum's post-game press conference, he was like, well, we knew Mitchell was out, which when your star's out, it means that the other players are going to play really good. They're going to have a lot more freedom. And I'm like, no, when their star is out, it means that they're going to be less good because they don't have Donovan Mitchell. And then Tatum was saying, like, oh, we're not a super team. Own it. Be like, yeah, we're really good. We're really good, and it's super fun. I mean, I feel like the people who are having fun most this season, like Porzingis was having a blast. Because if you go from having a career year with the Wizards and then suddenly you're in Boston and Boston's happy to have you, that's awesome. Drew Holiday was like, oh man, I avoided that mess over there in Milwaukee, but now I'm here. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are like, we have been ruined by Boston media, by Boston fans, by the expectations. And so they're just sort of slogging through because that's what they have to do, because I think Boston sort of breaks you in some way anyway. Because we're New Englanders, and that's how it goes, Stan. That's how it goes.
You break people.
Are you broken? Are you broken by what it is the Panthers have done to your Bruins, or do you not really care that way over there? Basketball's your thing, and it doesn't hurt the same way in hockey.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't really hurt the same. I'm watching so much basketball, Dan. Like, I have dreams that I'm like in a clutch situation. I like the basketball. I'm like on the bench. I'm like in the locker room. I'm not really. I'm mostly just watching it, but it's really all consuming. And I only have so much sports pain or energy that I can expend right now.
Please tell me these dreams are real and you weren't making that up. And I want to hear what the result is of you in the clutch in your dreams.
I was not expecting to be called out in that moment because I feel like I had a dream about it last night, but I couldn't quite tell you. So I was going to just sort of roll. I can make one up. I can make one up if you want.
Go ahead.
It would have been better if you had just done it without telling us you were making it up. That's one of the keys.
Can I try again? Can I try again?
No. No.
The Panthers, Rangers, Thunder, T-Wolves among the teams that have lost twice.
Yep. Charlotte, you're doing that thing that Bill Simmons does all the time, the misery, the losing, all that stuff. No one has had a better 2-decade run. No city in the history of American sports has had a better 2-decade run than Boston. Enough. Please, stop it.
Okay, first of all, I am not doing the thing Bill Simmons does. I did not say that the WNBA players, that team should be called W whatever. I'm not doing too much misery. I'm doing confusion. I'm doing, why isn't this more fun? I'm doing something's broken in me if I'm not, loving this. I am loving this, but also, like, I don't know. Stu, look at your Knicks. Your Knicks are they're gritty. They're tough. It's like adversity. If they don't make it, that's okay because their pets' heads are falling off. And the Celtics, it's like most people are healthy and they're playing well, and that's fun. So, but it's not, and I don't know why.
I think to Charlotte's point, being a fan of the favored team is a lot of pressure. And it makes you overreact to everything negative. When the Panthers lost game 1 to the Bruins, There was panic down here.
No, there wasn't.
Yes,
Roy
there
wasn't
was.
scared.
No,
It's the most confident I've
there
ever seen
wasn't
Roy. I got to be
I
honest.
thought we were winning in 5.
Okay, did you look at Reddit? The
No,
the
no,
Did
no,
you,
no.
Greg?
Yeah, I get Reddit.
Yeah.
I get it.
He subscribed.
He gets it mailed to his house.
It's an app, right? I don't know. No, but
See,
believe me,
I
the
get
reaction was
Reddit.
such that there's not moderation. You got to learn to moderate. It doesn't come naturally.
here's the thing, Dan. Can I give an analogy, please?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So when I talk on this show, a lot of times, sometimes I fumble over what I'm saying. You could say that I'm a mastermind because the bar is so low that when I make a coherent point and make my way through it, everyone's like, "Oh God, she did it." If I were just had bars left and right all the time, like the pressure would be too much. The Celtics, they're good at talking in a basketball way.
I really don't understand what you're doing in general. I don't know a lot of fans who would prefer to go into a series as the underdog instead of the favorite. You want to have the best team because you want to have the best chance of winning. It doesn't make any sense to me that expectations would spook you.
But with Michael
I know.
Jordan, the Bulls knew they were going to win. This is different, Dan. This is a team that, yes, they're favored to win, but as a fan, you're not certain they're quite good enough to win.
Yes, thank you, Stu. This is a team that has over the past years, 6 years, I don't know, what's 2018?
Are you doing a bit? What is
she
happening
can't
right
speak.
now?
She cannot speak. She's just.
This is what this
His
team has done to me.
disappearance.
This is what this team has done to me. Listen, they have gotten so close so many times and then they lose. So I'm like, I don't know, even though it looks like they should,
This
and
is
then
a
they probably
character.
will, and then it'll be great.
I get it.
I think you're right. And the example I would use is that Jason Tatum is famous for nothing more than not winning. So therefore, based on the recent past, you don't expect him to win.
I don't think either
Thank
of
you,
those. I don't think
My dad has had some doozies today.
I don't think either
Is
of those
this a
things are
sketch?
true.
Am I
I
in
don't
a
know.
sketch?
I know. It feels like it.
This is all making sense. to
Where's
me.
Ashton?
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Yes.
That is-
I'm trying, you know what I'm trying to
That's
do?
not the
I'm
ally
trying
you
to be-
want, Charlotte. You don't want him as an ally. He roots against the show.
The faces she's making,
Well-
something's up.
He's winning right now.
Okay, guys, I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to give you honesty in a way that would it be smarter to be like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm a cocky Boston fan. I love it. We're gonna win. You guys all suck. Maybe, but I'm trying to be honest about what's in my heart and work through this because I thought, forgive me. I thought this was a safe space for feelings.
Yeah.
They
kidding,
are.
I didn't.
They are for
I didn't think that.
well-spoken feelings. This is not a safe space
But Dan,
for misspeaking.
you
This
know-
is not
Oh, come
that.
on.
You know what I
Are you
always say,
kidding me?
Dan. Honesty is the best policy.
Thank you, Stugotz. LeBron
Thank you,
James
Stu.
getting a bottle of wine into the arena last night, placing it under his seat. I don't think there are a lot of human beings who would be allowed to do that.
This I can actually speak very coherently on if you would like some insight.
I would.
Okay, first of all, the coffee cup with the lid, brilliant. If anyone's ever brought wine into a theater, first of all, if you're LeBron, you can bring the bottle in. If you're trying to do it as a lay person, you have to bring it in a Nalgene or some sort of water bottle that is opaque so you can't see into it. Also, very funny to me that LeBron James shows up and he's like, sitting off to the side as if to say, "Oh, no, like don't look at me. I'm simply off to the side," but he's still courtside. And what is he doing? Like does he miss playoff attention? Because I feel like bringing a bottle of wine and a coffee cup into a stadium is a really good way to have people be like, that man's going through something.
Do you think he brought the bottle of wine in and asked what the corkage fee was? I think he bought this there.
No,
You can't buy a bottle
Absolutely
of
not.
wine in an arena, can you?
You can't bring a bottle of wine into an
You
arena.
can if you're LeBron, I would
Well,
assume.
then I would assume
that's
that
like
you
a
can buy one if you're
$500 bottle of wine, I think.
Maybe
That's LeBron's not drinking like,
You don't think he ordered a bottle of
$50
Josh?
Cab.
I think he has a wine locker there.
Maybe he snuck it in.
Is he a cab man or a Pinot Noir? What do we got him for?
What year is your Josh?
Pinot Noir?
The
Yeah,
Cleveland
Pinot Noir.
Caberniers.
Oh God.
I liked it.
That's good.
I tried.
No, it's
Why
good. You
didn't I think
say.
of that?
You say.
Bad
You don't
allies.
apologize.
Just bad
I
allies.
don't apologize.
Greg Cody has, he likes them the worse the better. It's the Jeremy Taché memorial joke. Give us last thoughts, please, before you get out on the WNBA season opening tonight. What is it that you're excited about? It's not going to be Caitlin Clark all the time, is it?
No, it's going to be Camila Cardozo. Although I think she might be a little hurt.
She's hurt, yeah.
Yeah, but she'll be
Nice
better.
guy.
She'll be better eventually. It's so hard to go from college right into the WNBA. I mean, it's Angel Reese. There is so much to be excited for. It's Nika Mule in Seattle, picking up the Sue Bird mantle. Like, there's so much to look forward to. And also, in terms of Caitlin Clark, I'm very excited to watch everybody who's already in the NBA be like, oh, you thought? And just give her a very hard time. So I think the whole thing is so exciting, and I can't wait to see what happens, guys.
Way to nail the dismount there at the end, Charlotte. Just a total disaster of an appearance.
Just name like 3 players that I would have
and
named.
then she stumbled over the finish
Like,
line.
I don't.
Like,
This was a
oddball.
bit.
You want my Celtics pain, and then you want something coherent in the last 30 seconds. Okay, it's my fault, Dan. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oddball every day but
Random
Monday.
drug testing.
You will
Stat.
get coherent thoughts there, unlike on our show. Thank you, Charlotte Wilder.
Thanks, guys.
Perhaps Billy and Stugotz can explain something to me because I'm at a bit of a loss. I don't understand the general enthusiasm around the NFL schedule coming out. It's a real baffling
out.
to me how interested people are in this. And I've also got a place where I believe that Billy and Stugotz might be most at odds on football analysis. Because Stugotz says Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football. I think he made him better than Patrick Mahomes. And
Well, I made Alex Smith better than Patrick Mahomes. So.
But I think you have said that Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football, and I don't think Billy not only doesn't agree with you. I think Billy thinks that
He's
Joe
got to prove something to me this year. I'll say it.
Say it.
Yeah, I said it. He's got to prove something this year. Stay healthy.
Yep.
Take him over the hump.
How about the schedule, though? Because
Oh, yeah. I don't know what Dan's talking about when he says he doesn't get excited. I feel bad for you, honestly.
Right.
Smile.
I mean,
Enjoy it.
Dan,
Yeah.
the Chiefs opening 2 weeks, Ravens and Bengals. I mean, if Burrow wants to prove something to Billy, he could do it early by beating Patrick Mahomes.
Opening night.
Yeah.
Well, no.
is-
Week 2.
That does
Me too.
get me excited.
It
Just
does.
knowing exactly I can build myself up to this one Monday night.
Play,
Yes.
win, loss.
Now, I have a Monday night game to open the season. It's Jets at Niners. I hate a Monday night to open the season. I have to wait around all
Week
weekend.
one,
wait
you don't
through
want.
Monday.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
You don't want it. But the good news in that is that Aaron Rodgers will be playing on grass.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
On the road.
Yes,
So he'll
yes.
probably get a game
Right.
in.
But how about the news that we're getting a Friday in Rio to open up the season
yeah,
after
amazing.
opening night?
We have games. NBC just picked up a game, according to Adam Schefter, I believe, that is going against the college football playoffs.
Wow.
Now, it's an expanded playoff this year, so it's the
I don't
first
like that.
week. Why?
I don't like that.
It's the NFL
I
flexing.
don't like that.
Yeah.
The
I don't like
NFL
that.
does whatever it wants. I do think schedule day is more interesting than it used to be in the NFL because of international games. Now there are like 3 or 4 a year, and because of 3 Christmas games this year. That'll be interesting to see how those shake out.
This is exciting, Dan. This is a big day. I mean, and today's not even schedule release is tomorrow.
Just
This
leaking
is
out right now.
leaks.
Yeah.
But I like
exactly
the leagues.
right.
The
I like
reason,
the leagues.
I
the reason
love
you
the
like it is because you want to see where your team fits in the hierarchy of the league. How many primetime games do I have? How many do the Jets have? I want to know where I am because that's how the league just puts. They basically just say if you have 10 primetime games, you're a good team.
I'll tell you
If
one
have
story.
You're terrible.
I'll tell you one storyline I was looking for, Chris, and that was where's Tom Brady going to pretend to be calling
We
his
found
first
out
game?
yesterday.
What's he got?
It's going to be Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
That he doesn't actually show up to play to call because he might actually be playing in the game.
Browns versus who?
Cowboys. You know his
Of
first
course,
assignment
come on.
on Fox
You know it's
had to be the
Cowboys. It's
Cowboys.
Fox.
Well, he's just
Knocking the
wading into
Cowboys.
the waters with just a classic Deshaun Watson game already, like challenging himself.
How's he going to handle that one?
How does this do nothing for you? I don't understand. I mean, sure, you could argue and say you already knew who you're going to be playing on the home and who you're going to be playing on the road, but now you know when you're going to be playing them home and road because it matters. Because then you know, is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? Do I get them early? Do I get them before they start clicking? Steelers, you want to play early. We talked about this last week on GBF. You get the Steelers, which the Jets do. You want them early in the season before things start clicking in the Steel City because you know that that's bound to happen because Tomlin always gets his team ready, but it always takes a little bit of time to get them there. Here's another one, Dan. This one's for free. Trevor Lawrence needs a big year. Needs a big year.
You have had a stronger opinion than that. Needs a big year.
On Trevor
or
Lawrence?
what?
Oh,
well,
I think I said before that this may be his last year in the league. Is that what you're referring
that's
to?
stronger than
said
that's
that,
stronger than needs a big year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could be
that's
his last year in the league.
Yeah.
What does Joe Burrow exactly have to show you?
Anything, really. I mean, just
He
been
won
a
an
lot of
AFC.
huff and puff from
He
him.
beat the Chiefs.
He's been the only one.
No.
Him and Tom Brady have been like the only ones to beat them.
In Billy's defense, he is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL this season at $55 million, and Jared Goff is second.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
We are not prepared for the amount of money Jared Goff is going to be making throughout his career when it's all said and
Well,
done.
you say it's crazy, but hasn't he already been the highest paid quarterback in the sport once? Didn't Jared Goff already have that
Yeah,
distinction?
but for the Lions to take the next step, you need to not pay Jared Goff $53 million or whatever it is.
He's making more than Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes this season.
He's making more than
I know.
everybody but Joe Burrow, and that's what happens when the latest quarterback signs. It's why now people think Tua is going to get $50 million because, I mean, Carson Wentz was the highest paid quarterback in football at one point. The guy who comes up that year, that's how that one works. But I want to circle back around to what it is Mike said about Tom Brady. Didn't he say in his first press conference about being an announcer, didn't he throw out there that Dak Prescott has to show him something?
Yeah.
Boy.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Well, so that we got another storyline there. Maybe he's actually going to be gunning for his job there. Although it's a little complicated because he is a part owner in the Raiders, and I think he has to divest. Basically, look, I think he's coming back, and I think he's coming back to the Raiders. Really? I already put my future in for the Raiders to make the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah.
When do you have him coming back, though? Before the season starts?
One injury. I think he's put it out there, and I'm fascinated with the looming prospect that Tom Brady's actually saying things now. He avoided it entirely last year. He sent that selfie video from the sand, and he stayed quiet, and he enjoyed a year off. But he started putting out the tea leaves and the crumbs out there, signaling to teams like, maybe not at the start of the year. I don't really have much interest in training camp. But if you got an injury, I'm open for business.
But they have depth. They have Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. They need 2 injuries.
Let me read you guys the quote here from Tom Brady, because if he's willing to say stuff, which he's never been willing to do, this can be more interesting. But he says...
He has a media company now. I mean... He's incentivized to say something, anything.
Well,
what can Tom Brady say that would make news?
It's not just a media company. He's being paid $375 million guaranteed, a lot more than he made in his career, to say stuff.
I know. I mean, plus he's also in the process of building his own media company, much the way Pat McAfee and the Mannings have done.
Stupid. Why don't you just take $375 million, work one day a week, and retire?
Just
go
call
away.
Games, yeah.
Yeah,
Call games.
so easy.
Tell
Why
us
do you
what
need the
see.
stress of this?
Yeah.
Not that easy. Dan, you tell him. Not that easy to just start a media company. Why does he need this stress in his life?
Mm-hmm.
It would be much better to just be able to go to one football game a week for 17
Just tell us what
weeks
you see,
than having to go and create an entire company.
He strikes me as a classic crammer also, right? I mean, obviously, everyone will tell us, oh, he studies so hard, he does all this and that. He's going to cram. You don't think he's going to cram?
I have found that basically every athlete who's great tries to be great at this stuff. Like there is not, well, I shouldn't say every athlete who's great because there are some that aren't trying that hard. But the ones who you think are obsessive compulsive about being great, Dwayne Wade or whatever, they go into these fields or these other things after retirement, and they are very coachable about wanting to be coached, like about going around asking questions as if they don't know anything, wanting to learn. And I imagine Tom Brady doesn't want to embarrass himself. So he does say, though, and I ask you guys, is this anything or is it just something because Tom Brady's saying it? I know the Cowboys, how important they are to this network. They've got great storylines. Come on, Dak Prescott. Let's see if he can finally come through. And then he heard the buzz, and he just said, did that just slip out?
Oops. Well, he might have just had his lips done. You don't know.
Classic Tom.
Did that just slip out?
He could be talking about a tooth.
That is something. That is something because Tom Brady is saying it's something that everyone would say, but because Tom Brady is saying it, and where the bar is below the floor on he's not gonna say anything interesting when he says, "Will Dak come through?" Did that just slip out? As if it's a horrible mistake he made because he spent 20 years not saying anything.
Yeah, very benign comment in the criticism category, in the controversy category.
Unless you're Dak.
I'm already dreading the Greg Olsen hipsters. I love Greg Olsen. I think he's fantastic.
Awesome.
Go Canes. I will miss him on the main broadcast in specific moments. But the novelty of Tom Brady, the greatest ever to do it, hopping in the booth and talking about what is unfolding in front of his eyes with his perspective of knowing certifiably, wait, is this the greatest player to ever call a sport ever? Like Wayne Gretzky, he's a studio analyst, but in terms
Michael
of
Jordan hasn't called the game, so yes.
This is not necessarily. This is a pretty cool novelty, such that it is, but it's awesome. At least for 1 week, we get to hear the greatest by far to ever do it. Talk about this, and then we're going to look at the schedule and see when is he talking about the Chiefs. When is Tom Brady going to be scheduled against a Kansas City game? I think that's another reason to look forward to the schedule.
Give me whoever it is that you guys regard as second place on what Mike Ryan is talking about, because I'm not talking about Charles Barkley or studio hosts. I'm talking about a greatest ever who is willing 17 weeks a year to fly into Cleveland for a weekend to call a football game. There's a reason they're paying him the way that they're paying him. He has destroyed what is the salary market for this without having done it. And the reason is because they have to pay in order to incentivize the Michael Jordan of their sport to not be in ownership, but just come over here and talk about it. Be a partner with us on selling this. Be someone who hands the sport over to the young people by being a voice that people recognize. The premium price on that is because he is somebody whose time is that valuable.
Are you saying within football or just within sports?
I'm saying in the history of sports.
Scott Hamilton.
One of the things, that's a good one.
Aikman's up there. Aikman. John McEnroe.
Dude.
McEnroe's a good one.
McEnroe's good, but this is, bar none, the greatest to ever do it. And I'm not even talking, like, studio is a different thing. You get the live play-to-play thoughts of the greatest ever to do something as he's watching games just like you. This is amazing.
Yes.
I can understand having your doubts about it, but can we experience this first? I want to see his first Mahomes game.
It's amazing if he's any good at broadcasting. It's amazing if he says things that are interesting, dare say more interesting than his veiled criticism of Dak Prescott. Because he's Tom Brady, the great all-time quarterback, doesn't mean he's going to be good in his new job.
But even if he's not good, even that has a level of interest. Him dealing with the adversity of his confidence on the field doesn't apply to the booth. What is he going to do week to week to get better? Or is he just going to call it? Is he going to do the Jason Witten thing and just be like, I tried it for 1 year at the peak of the profession, and I'm not cut out for this? Because a lot of people do. You mentioned Dwayne Wade. I mean, I understand ownership got in the way, but a lot of guys get into this new media content game, and they get frustrated inside of 2 years because they're not as in control as they were when they were playing.
Way back when Dan Marino, you may recall, was broadcasting and didn't prove particularly good at it, and so he slowly faded, but he would have been one of those all-time greats to try.
Maybe A-Rod? He called baseball games?
Yep.
Yes, A-Rod would be one of them. Marino wasn't calling games. He was doing a studio show.
True.
That's different. I will say, because you may have noticed this at ESPN, maybe you didn't, in whatever the transition is, the difficulty of the transition for the greatest to find something else they're interested in. ESPN always had a hard time getting the top tier of athlete fame to go fly into Bristol to do stuff. So the guys they would get who were that kind of great Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, Scottie Pippen, they were all terrible broadcasters. Like all three of them were really bad at broadcasting, uninteresting, but their level of fame made it so here's a primary voice. You can speak on behalf of your sport. It doesn't even matter if you're any good, but what Mike is saying is true. That guy's never in a booth with wires around his head on the night
off the cuff
on a Sunday, just calling games because Michael Jordan went from what he was doing to no, I want maximum power, and so they end up paying Tom Brady all of the money to do that. But I still ask you guys, I'm the only one here among us who just doesn't care about the schedule stuff. Like, I don't care which game Brady is doing first. I care that he's going to do it, and I will be listening to his first game. But it doesn't matter to me who he's calling.
Oh, it matters to me.
It matters.
It matters to me. When is he going to do an Aaron Rodgers game? Is he going to do an Aaron Rodgers game? Is he going to be scheduled against the New England Patriots? Who knows? This is all very interesting to me. Because I'm a sports fan. I like getting excited about something I'm going to get excited about.
That's unfair what you just said.
So what
to
Mike
me.
is saying is you're not a sports
because
fan.
I don't care about the schedule. I'm not a schedule fan.
Man,
Schedule equals games.
just think about how happy. All
But I
right,
know the
equals
games are going to be
sports.
played.
It's a bridge, Dan.
So
Yeah.
Sundays, I got my spot on the couch. It's a sacred thing that we go through in this country.
Yes,
We all
yes.
look forward to our football Sundays.
Yes.
And I
Sport.
like seeing the schedule to come out. That second Sunday in November is going to be a good one. I like that stuff.
It was always Jets and Browns. Remember, we had like a 5-year run.
This is incredible. What a matchup for week one. The Browns never get the 4 o'clock Fox window against the Cowboys. That's a rare matchup.
I think Brady's getting it.
Yeah, but that's just, I mean, you weren't excited to find out that that's going to be your first Sunday afternoon?
I told you.
America's game of the week?
You're not excited yet?
I am not. Your enthusiasm confused me about it. It just
Why?
confuses me.
Eagles versus Packers in Brazil. Neither team can wear green.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
What? It's big.
Because it's a rival.
Yeah, it's banned from the stadium.
It's banned from the stadium.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't know if you're familiar with these teams, but
What are they
going
gonna
to do in them uniforms?
Alternate black uniforms, road whites. I mean,
Watch
how
out
do
for
we
the
solve
pack
the
this
problem?
year. Yeah.
Everything in the
Pack is back.
NFL is overcovered. You got to realize that. Schedule day's big because everything is big. Rookie minicamp was covered like it's wonderful, heavy news. I don't care about rookie minicamp personally, but people do. NFL fans do care about the schedule as well.
Yeah, I must be alone on this.
Yeah,
and
you are.
it
Can
is-
we see the uniforms with the bubble wrap helmet?
Yeah.
I just want to know what my eyes have to get adjusted to.
Again, though, I will just tell you guys that none of this will be like when they're announced. None of these things that you want will be known. None of these.
They will all be known.
No, you don't
Dude,
know.
it's gonna
No,
be
you don't
shocking,
know
the first bubble
You
helmet
don't
that we see.
You don't know what the helmets are going to be. You don't know what Tom Brady's going to sound like. You don't know who's good. You don't know who's going to win. You don't know what injuries they're
Of
going
course
to
I
be.
am. I'm a pig-headed man. I know everything. What are you talking about?
You don't know anything.
I'll see that, and I'll say 10 wins.
Yeah, there it is. That's what you do.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.